Ciao friends, Simple Italian Cooking, it's Liz with you, and today I'm doing something a little different. Today I'm going to talk about what makes a good pesto. And I really wasn't necessarily planning on doing this video, and I've got other videos on specific types of pesto, and I'll link to them in this video, so that if you want to make some, you've got some options, ones that use pine nuts, ones that use walnuts or cashews, so you'll get a gist for each of those recipes. But today what I want to talk to you about is what makes a really good pesto. What makes a true pesto? And the reason why I'm doing this is because I bought some pesto at the store, I don't know, a little while ago. And I thought, you know what, I'll try it, and I have to tell you, it was the worst pesto, and it was from an Italian brand. And I'm not into brand bashing, so I'm not going to even say the brand. But it really frustrated me because they should know better. I'm just saying. So first, let me talk about what's in a basic pesto. Okay, what the basic ingredients are. First off, you're going to have your fresh basil. Okay, these are fresh. You're not going to use dried. You're not going to use frozen. You're going to use fresh ones that come right off the stems like this. Okay, so you got to have those fresh basil leaves. Okay, if you're going to call it pesto genovese, you need to be using genovese basil. If you don't grow that, that's fine. It's pesto. It's still great. All right. So what else do you put? Okay, so you got your basil. It also uses cheeses. Now, traditionally, you use two types of cheeses, and I'll tell you why. You use Parmesan and you use Romano. And you use less of the Romano than you do of the Parmesan, and the reason why that is because the Romano has such a strong flavor that a little goes a long way. If I were to use Romano only, it would totally overpower because pesto is concentrated. Pesto is really intense. It shouldn't be a light flavor. You only use a little bit for a recipe. So when you make 2 cups worth, which is what my recipes are for, you don't have to use all of that in a single meal. You freeze it or you store it in smaller containers. You freeze it in smaller containers so it's easier to take out what you need. If you're just keeping it in a bowl and you're going to use it all up throughout the week, that's different, okay? But, so Romano, you don't want to use a ton of it. It has a sharp flavor. It is really salty. And so if you do it, it's going to overpower it. That's why it's really good to use the Parmesan to offset that. Parmesan will give it a little more creaminess. And it's a good combo with this. If you only use Romano, that's fine. Just cut back on it. If you only use the Parmesan, that would be my recommendation. So, garlic. Do you use garlic in a pesto? Yes, but you don't use a lot. In fact, you can even omit it if you want. But the garlic will give it a slight kick. I like mine on the lighter side. I don't want a heavy garlic flavor. So I use, if it's a large clove, I cut it in half, or I just use like a regular small clove. It also depends on the type of garlic. So my mother-in-law used to grow her garlic in their garden, and that was like, it was a mild, delicious garlic. Very different than what you get at the store. So again, it really kind of, you have to figure out what works best for you with the type of intensity that your ingredients have for their flavors. Okay, and then a traditional pesto will have nuts, and technically it would be pine nuts or a combination of pine nuts and walnuts. And you want to use the pine nuts. If you don't have pine nuts, you can use walnuts. That's okay. That's still legit. And like I said, there's lots of different variations out there for pesto, but I wanted to go, and then extra virgin olive oil. Okay, you got to use extra virgin olive oil. Remember, this isn't cooking, you're not frying, so you need that flavor. And if you can get that first cold pressed, that's the best, okay? So that's really it. That's what it involves in terms of the ingredients for a regular pesto. When you mix it all up, you can mix it in a blender like this NutriBullet or this food processor, which is a Cuisinart. Both of these models are no longer sold, from my understanding. Last time I checked, so I will link below to like the latest model. So I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching. Grazie e ciao.